Hey everybody, this is Daniel, as you see, with another PRS guitar. Um, Again, just a reminder, all my guitars I buy myself. Um, I'm not sponsored by anyone. Trust me, I would love to be sponsored by PRS, but it would make it a little easier on my wallet, but it is what it is. So this one here is the S2, um, is the S2 McCarty 594 Singlecut in Scarlet Red. So, first, let me tell you about, for those of you who don't know the S2 line, I'm sure everybody does, but the S2 line is where PRS makes, like, the bodies, the paint, the construction, everything is done in the Maryland plant. These things you're going to find have the same curves, the same, everything as you would get out of an American guitar. However, the pickups, the electronics, are going to be the export stuff. So this is the pickups will be and the electronics will be the same as you would get in an SE guitar. That's where they kind of cut the costs. Is you get the great finish, you get the great bodies, the features, but the pickups and the electronics are what are kind of where they cut the cost. Now, for me, that's a good place to go because you go on the forums, you hear a lot of people talk about putting um, bare knuckle pickups or Duncans or DiMarzios or even PRS core pickups they'll put in there, and then they'll put Emerson wiring or orange drop caps or whatever. So, but for the money that you get, which is a sub $2,000 guitar, the deal I got on this was around like 1700 flat, and then you add tax and shipping and stuff or whatever. It's a good guitar, sub $2,000 guitar. It's good, and for me personally, my preference is if the pickups and everything's working. I'm someone that goes by the motto: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So if the pickups, everything sounds good, I'm happy to keep them in there and not have to spend money buying new pickups, getting them installed, etc. So, I got this from and shout out to the Palin Music Center. I think they're out of Missouri. I'll try to link their website and their YouTube channel on here. Give them a shout out. So I went ahead and I bought this guitar from them, not my local dealer. Here's why. This guitar is in Scarlet Red. This is the color I wanted. This is basically, at least for the past 2 years, I think, a discontinued color. However, from what I've been told by my local dealer, that if a company orders a guitar in a certain color, like this one, Scarlet Red, and it gets discontinued, but knowing what we know with the supply chain problems, say they ordered it in 2019 and 2020, then it gets discontinued, but they still have a outstanding order for that color, they're still going to fulfill that order. And that's what this guitar was. In fact, the date on the back of the headstock dates this to 2021. I was told that 2020 they stopped doing Scarlet Red. Now they could very well reintroduce it later on, but for now, Scarlet Red is discontinued. And that seems to be a common feature because I've seen a lot of guitars on Reverb, that were sold, or there are older models like 2020, 2019, like a CE24 or even a McCarty 594, the double cutaway one, in Scarlet Red. Makes me a little angry I got into these guitars like a year too late. But anyway, I've been looking for this guitar. I always wanted it in this color, Scarlet Red, or any PRS in Scarlet Red. But they've been harder and harder to find. I saw them on eBay. I saw them on Reverb. Sometimes they'd be offered a good deal. I really wanted it, but I just couldn't justify it. Maybe a lot of them I found right after I bought the CE24. So right on top of buying that CE24, I couldn't justify making this splurge. But these guitars have become rarer and rarer and rarer to find. So it tells me that people, that these colors, this guitar and this color, are just getting sold out. people are finding them. People are getting good deals on them. I got a decent deal on it. And they're just moving on them, and they're pulling them off. So I just realized that if I just kept waiting, I just was never going to get this guitar. So I went ahead, got it on Reverb, went through the affirmed pricing, set it for 12 months. And so for the next year, hopefully I can pay it off earlier. I'm going to be, so this one and my CE24, I'm going to be paying off. So anyway, so I'll kind of tell you the specs. It's got the 22 fret neck. I think it's a pattern vintage neck. So like McCarty, the McCarty namesake is Ted McCarty, who used to be the president of Gibson back in the 50s and 60s. So he consulted with Paul Reed Smith on this line of guitars way back when, in the 90s, I think it was. So not the S2 specifically, but just the McCarty line. So they have the hollow body, they have the double cutaways, which we know, and they have the single cut. Now the single cut obviously got them sued, PRS sued by Gibson. Gibson argued that the dimensions were too close, too similar to theirs, and so it was a lawsuit, and they got an injunction against them, against PRS. PRS ended up winning that suit, but they went ahead and changed some dimensions, changed some things on it to make it visually still Gibson Les Paul-esque, but with some differences enough so that way they could say they weren't making a direct Les Paul copy. My argument being, well, what would you expect if they're making a single cut in line with the guy who was the president of Gibson in the 50s and 60s? You're probably going to get some very close similarities to the original single cut that he came up with. Anyway, so it's got this pattern vintage neck, 22 frets, owning a Gibson Les Paul Standard 50s, owning a Gibson SG and an Epiphone 335. This feels very much like that 335, that SG, and that Les Paul neck. You know, little bits of elements of both. I like on this that with this, it's got the beveling, and here it's got a beveled joint. So it really does allow you to get up on the neck more. Whereas the Gibson, you're going to kind of struggle and have to do a little bit of a little gymnastics with. But it does work out great. The pickups are again, these are the export ones, the 5815S pickups. 2 volumes, 2 tones. The tones push-pull. I'll show you those sounds later in a little bit. These pickups I really like. So I've been really impressed with the 8515S and these 5815S pickups. These pickups, FYI, are also the ones they put in. So they put these in all the McCarty ones. They also put these in the SE hollow bodies. Now, in the actual core line McCartys, you're going to get the 5815 core pickups, which are the LTs, the low turns, which, again, just sound like lower output PAF pickups. These pickups, which you're going to hear, sound very much like that. I love these pickups. They are amazing. I'm not switching them out. You know, I thought originally, because I have a set of core line PRS McCarty pickups, I was going to put them in. These pickups sound amazing. I'm leaving them in. They sound the equivalent of the Burstbucker 1 and 2 pickups in the Gibson Les Paul. Perfect. This pickup you'll hear, even clean, will start to push that amp a little bit into breakup. This one just sounds like a very mellow, jazzy, bluesy guitar pickup. So, let's kind of go through the tones. I'm playing through, for my clean tone, it's the little Vox AC4 TV Mini. And for my dirty sound, it's an orange Micro Terror with an orange cab in it. I'm playing both through an MXR AB box. So we're going to go with the clean first, and then I'm going to show you kind of the tones here. So neck pickup, humbucker. Both humbuckers in humbucking mode. Bridge. no, I didn't step on the orange. This is the Vox Clean. You know, this is kind of like what a bridge humbucker should do. Starts to push those tubes, get them a little bit that breakup tone. So now let's start up, and we're gonna put this first. We're gonna put the neck in split coil. So it's got a single coil tone. Very mellow single coil sound. That's the one thing I like about PRS that really attracted me to PRS is their coil splits. There's a lot of companies, including Gibson Epiphone, that don't always get it right. Sometimes it just sounds like a mellower, weaker humbucker, or a mini humbucker that's just underwound. Like, it just feels like a lot of guitar companies, when I've tried their coil split options, it just feels like something was missing, like they didn't quite complete it. Paul Reed Smith got it. I don't know quite how he does it, but the single coil tones, as you hear, are good. Now, they don't borrow directly from a Strat. Don't buy this guitar thinking that the single coil tone is going to get you a Strat or Tele. It's not going to. It's going to get you something different. It's going to get you a single coil tone, but just not, like, don't expect a quacky Robert Cray-esque tone. You're going to get something very different. Again, neck. It's a single coil tone, very warm. No ice pickiness here. Now, single coil neck, humbucker bridge. Now let's put this guy in, both of these are now single coil now. Bridge, single coil. One thing, Paul does really well is the bridge single coil, not ice picky. With Strats and Teles, I've had them both. I have them. And even with the mid-boost kit, they really, that bridge pickup can be a bit much. Now, whether you like that or not, that's a whole other tonal preference. But for a lot of players, it gets ice picky, and they try to lower it. They try different things. The good thing about this pickup is it does have the treble. Quite clearly, it sounds different than the neck single coil, but it's not overly harsh. I appreciate that. So anyway, let's go back to the two humbucker tones, and we're going to make this one the humbucker and this one the single coil. Now, some people up and down will claim that they can tell the difference between when this is single coil, this is humbucker, and when this is humbucker and this is single coil. Those two tones. To me, not as much difference, but that tonal option is there. I'm not even going to bother trying to count the pickup options. I'll let you all do that. But there's a lot of tonalities there. There's a lot of different things that you can do, different tones you can get out of this. The other way Paul does it is, I've seen it on the Paul's Guitar SE, which I have. I've also seen it in some of their core lines, like custom 24s, 2408s, limited editions like special anniversaries and stuff like that. So we'll have the volume, the tone, and then he has these two mini toggles. Me, being a traditionalist, I like having the push-pulls. I don't really think there's a better way. People can argue about that on the forums. Some people will say it's faster just having these instead of having to try and fumble with your guitar mid-solo or something and having to push-pull. Again, me being a traditionalist, I like having the two tones and the two volumes. So let's do some distortion now. Some distorted tone. Start neck humbucker. Middle, both humbuckers. Bridge. neck single coil. Middle, neck single coil bridge humbucker. Middle, both single coils, both pickups single coil. Now we're going to do this one. The neck pickup is going to be humbucker. This is going to be single coil. Bridge, single coil. See that? Even with a high gain amp, it's still not ice picky. Neck, humbucker. So on my guitar, the only thing I changed on this was the knobs. So the knobs here are still the PRS lampshade knobs, but they're the amber ones. To my eye, the red guitars, red PRSs look better when they've got the amber lampshade knobs. The ones they come with are the clear, or the black, or the white lampshade knobs. So the clear ones. But I just think stylistically it looks better with the amber ones, and that's all I did to it. That's the only thing I've swapped on it. Has the vintage-esque tuners, which I actually like. They're not locking. So one thing on here is the tuning pegs, the brass saddles, even parts of the neck, or parts of the bridge, the tailpiece, bridge and tailpiece are brass. Paul Reed Smith is a big advocate of having string touch brass as much as possible. You'll see that on like the Paul's guitar SE, and there's some other higher end models. The core lines, he often does this. I think the bridge, I hear that the bridge and the tailpiece are the same ones that he uses on the core line guitars too. So what I would say is, now this one is really shaping up to be my favorite guitar that I own. My favorite PRS I own. It's a single cut. It's red. It's got that red color. The pickups, I just love them. Again, like they give me that Gibson 50s warm PAF low turn, low output humbucker sound, which is what I like. My preference is to get the woman tone. Can't do too much of that without getting a strike, you know how YouTube is these days. But so for me personally, this has become my new favorite guitar. Still love my CE24, not get rid of that one anytime soon. That is a very different sound. Again, that one's a bolt-on neck. This one's a set-in neck. But so if you're looking for PRS's version of a Les Paul, or you're like me, you're into PRSs, but you like the single cuts more than the double cuts, get one of these. Again, this color is discontinued, so you can try finding them. They're very rare. They're hard to find. If you're lucky, you can snag a good deal. I got this one for sub $1,700. I think it ended up being around a little more than $1,700 with tax, because I think I got like 16 flat, and then tax, and then shipping was free, I believe. Thank you to Palin Music Center. They got this to me within a couple days. I think it was like 3-4 days, and I got it. Despite UPS trying to keep me from getting it. So that's a long story, not going to get into. But, so this is a great guitar. I love it. There's a lot of other colors. So there's the standard colors you can find for it, but there's some that are increasingly hard. There's a tri-color burst, which I really like. I've seen it out and about. I saw one on Musician's Friend or Sweetwater. I almost bought it, hesitated too long. They had a good deal on it, and it got bought out. But I was looking at it because it was the exact same guitar, had that color. I think it was a B-stock model, so somebody sent it back. Either they didn't like it, or there might have been an imperfection. They sent it back. The Sweetwater was offering it for a low amount, a reasonable amount, and I just delayed too much on it. There's lost opportunities, right? There's other ones I saw. Like one guy, John Plays Too Loud. That's his channel. He had one that was like the Frost Blue Metallic, which I have a feeling was probably an exclusive color for maybe the Japanese market. Looks gorgeous. It looks like I've seen some pre-orders that they're going to make this model in 2022 in the new color of Lake Blue, which is another gorgeous color. PRS is unveiling some pretty nice colors. I would love to see this one in their new color, the Bonnie Pink Cherry Burst, which is it's going to be in their new S2 2408. You know, if I have a bunch of guitars, pedals, and stuff I'm trying to sell, if I can sell a bunch of that stuff, I'd love to buy one of those. But again, first I gotta pay off this one, gotta pay off my custom, my CE24, sorry. So, anyway, my advice is if you can swing one, get it. I don't regret getting it. This guitar also is a bit lighter. It does feel lighter than my Les Paul. On those days where my back is just bugging me and that Les Paul is just not going to do it. It's just going to irritate my back too much. This one's not a bad guitar to pull out. This or my CE24 are not bad alternates, or my SG. But yeah, this guitar feels maybe around 7-ish pounds, and my Les Paul is probably between 8 and 9 pounds plus. Because also I put the Bigsby on it, so with all that metal on there. Yeah, and the Vibramate. So all that metal there's going to add probably another pound or so onto it. So there's days where the Gibby just, that's an anchor on my back and I can't do it. So this guitar definitely feels good. It has enough of that sound for me. And like I said, I would highly recommend get one if you can swing it. So that's it. Feel free to put any questions down there. I'll try to answer them to the best of my knowledge. I'll try to add, when I do this, I'll try to link the Palin Music Center. And again, huge shout out to Palin Music Center for this guitar, for getting it to me so quickly, and for getting this color. This is the one I wanted. So, thank you very much.